Hey everyone, how are we doing? Who all do we have here today? Let me turn on a little music. See if anyone's in the chat with questions. Getting everything set up. My Pearson canvas have not been working properly. It's driving me crazy. I'm trying to do the sync. I've been trying to do it for days, trying to get it fixed up. Literally says not synced on chapter 12 homework and now chapter 12 quiz. Everything new that is happening is not syncing. Let me send an announcement to everybody saying Canvas on my Pearson have been having a sync issue. All the grades are in my Pearson. And so let me go send that. Let's say Canvas my Pearson sync. Let's go send that. My Pearson / Canvas sync. Canvas starting since around chapter 10. Canvas and my Pearson have been having syncing issue. All grades in my Pearson are there. So no worries. I have been working with my Pearson to fix the issue. It should be resolved in the next 2 days. Resolved. I hope shortly. Should be. It's the key right there. Should be resolved. It's just like it started not syncing for anyone watching this. It started not syncing, I think, on chapter 10. Just started not syncing. And then it just like doesn't sync with like anything after chapter 10. Like I think it was either chapter 10 or 8, but it just like breaks on the sync. And I have no idea what's going on. It's like, I think I've shown this before. Go to the main screen, Canvas and my Pearson not syncing. Ah! It just literally, and there's chapter 12, which we just did last night. So it says like not synced. And I'm like, why is it not syncing? And they're like, how about you try syncing just individual ones? So if we click that, 22 things not synced. And if you try to click just an individual one to sync, it's just going to crash on that now. So I have no idea. It syncs everything else, but anything new, it doesn't sync. So I'm like, what is going on? And I've been speaking to my Pearson. A lot of things have been like, try syncing individual assignments. And I'm like, well, I tried that. I've been trying to sync just individual ones. I've been trying to sync all of them. Been trying multiple things, trying everything. And it's just like the problem is growing, which is driving me crazy. I can download the gradebook from my Pearson and upload it to Canvas. I'd have to do like manual syncs each time then. I would have to manually go through and create the sync, but I have no idea why now. And like, even if I delete this, I don't know. I tried deleting assignments and then bringing them back in, and it didn't like that. And I'm like, why is it doing that? I mean, they probably just need to recreate the bridge between Canvas to my Pearson. And I don't know if no one's here, I might actually, because I have their 1-800 number and I've been trying to get a hold of them, but a lot of times I teach during the day. So it's just spinning away. Usually it doesn't take this long. Usually it does it within like, I don't know, 10 seconds to sync new stuff. See, it says auto sync enabled, but it's going to say not sync here because it should just automatically grab like if you complete an assignment within like 5 to 10 minutes, it should do a sync. I think like every 10 minutes it does a sync. So a lot of times you do an assignment, then you go look at Canvas and the sync is there, but nothing's syncing right now. Nothing's grabbing between the two platforms. So we'll see if anyone shows up with questions, but might literally call up my Pearson right here because this is, I've gotten quite a few emails, and please email me about stuff if stuff like this occurs, but I've never had this problem. I've never had an issue syncing my Pearson and Canvas. All of a sudden everything went haywire, and see there it says not synced. And that's what it does. Even though it says auto sync enabled, it's just not going to sync now. So none of them will sync. It says give them this error code, and I gave them that error code, and it didn't seem to help out. I'm like, why is there error codes if the error codes don't help out? Well, we'll see if anyone shows up right here. We'll see if anyone shows up with questions. 474 320 201. Who has questions? Look at the Discord. A few messages. Maybe I will give them a call. No, I want to get it fixed up. Let's see. My Pearson rep gave me their number. Oh, they messaged me in the morning. Could you provide more detail? I gave all the we're on message number 8. I am free now. Hey, what's up, Blake? Trying to get my Pearson working. There's a issue with the Connect, and might have to call their. So we've had an issue with the syncing, and we're on message like 9 with them, and it's just us going back and forth, and they're like, yeah. So yeah, I'm just like, no. Recommended browsers. Tech support. My Pearson tech support. Contact us. They used to have like an instructor line. Here we go. Issue. My issue. Oh my gosh. My lab. Statistics. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna see right here. move out the exam. Well, no. No, everything's working. It's just the grades are not being brought over. So everything 100% works, but the grades are not being brought over. So everything works 100%, but grades are not being brought over. Everything works, but grades are not being brought over. They really need... Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm trying to do their online chat right now. Third tries the charm. Please hold while we connect you to an agent. Do not close the window. See right here. Chat over here. Kind of nervous that we have a chapter to learn right before the day of the exam. Well, it's one big chapter. It's one big chapter. It is chapter 13. Chapter 13. Do you want to do some work from that in a moment? Well, it starts today. It starts today. I've got the chat over here with them. Let me grab the case number and everything. Starts today. Here we go. So chapter 13 is one big chapter on sampling distributions. There's 2 parts to it: sampling distribution of sample mean and sampling distribution of sample proportion. We can probably do most of it today. So when you do the sampling mean of the sample proportion, or the sampling mean of the sample the sampling distribution of the sample mean, it's mainly about knowing how to solve the problems and knowing the terminology. So the chapter starts today and pretty much ends on Monday. And so we won't be doing it because the test is on Wednesday, right? So we have Wednesday to review. And so yeah, the test is on Wednesday, right? So we're doing it today. and Monday, and then we're reviewing Wednesday. So it's a big chapter that starts today and ends on Monday. The dashboard said Tuesday? Wait, the dashboard? Oh, you're saying, is the assignment due? You're saying the assignment is due, right? The assignment is due then. That is correct. So we'll be reviewing on Wednesday. The assignment is due on Tuesday. Correct. Yeah, no, so we're covering it on today and Monday. Good questions, Blake. Let's see, what is my Pearson saying? Okay. That is correct. We got that million, Blake. Love it. It's all correcting my Pearson. Let me know what you're wondering about, Blake. I'm chatting with him right now. We're seeing if they're just confirming that it's me. Let me tell them the error code again. I don't think I can send images over this. I wish I could. Where's that error code? That's the virtual machine. Where is the error code? Did I close out? Let me redo the error code. It just does not want to sync. Help and support. I gave them the diagnostics and everything. And I sent them everything I could. Right now, the data link assignments looking kind of ominous. And so which one? Yeah, we have one of those coming up, right? Let's see. I was just so bummed. I don't know why the sync isn't working. Data analytics on Sunday, right? That's Friday. Executive summary and future research. You want to check that out here in a little bit? So I finished talking to my Pearson here. We can check that out. They are just confirming. I have no idea how to do number 7. Let's talk about that right now. I think, for sure, yeah. Okay. Did Terry provide? Terry provide right here. Assignment support. Okay. So let's take a look at. We don't have the rubric up for it. Let's go take a look at data analytics number 7. Get my notepad of stuff open. Okay. Data analytics, stat tool 1. Data analytics, number 7. Let's go check that out. Let's see. Oh, there's the My Pearson sync. Oh my gosh. 2 seconds. Now they're replying back. Get this start here. They say, thank you for confirming. There you go. Yeah, I know. Wednesday office hour is kind of quiet. Wednesday office hour is kind of quiet right here. Kind of quiet office hours. Kind of chill. Let's head over here to the main screen. Let's check this out. Okay. So we have here an executive summary and future research. And with the executive summary and future research, you're writing basically the opening and closing to a report. But a lot of people don't know what an executive summary is. An executive summary needs to have these 3 key parts to it. We need to have, why was it done? So the first thing you're going to do is introduce someone to whatever company you're working for, explain to them what is going on in the research. So make sure to have this right here, like, what is your company? Maybe you work for a sports team. Hi, I work for the Atlanta Braves, and we're currently looking at recruiting players, and this research is going into analyzing new players that could join our team. So the first part, why was it done? What is the reason for the analytics? Make sure that is clear. So if you're writing this executive summary right now, think about breaking it up into parts, maybe 2 really strong sentences right here on why was it done. We're going to look at the report here in a moment to kind of talk about the context by which you're doing it. The next, you have key findings. So when we do the key findings right here, you need to have the top things in your analysis. We found that these recruits from this area were the best players, specifically blank, blank, blank recruit. We also found that we value batting average for our players, or I guess on base percentage. Things like that, your key findings. Be specific, and one thing you need to do is you need to quote the numeric backing. So one thing I ask my graders to do is if someone's not quoting the numbers, because a lot of times we have values like the mean was this or the median was this, make sure to quote that. But you're not just taking your report and moving a sentence up from the report, you're trying to summarize the key takeaways. So with your key findings, think about the things you want someone to know. Last but not least, an action item. An action item right here is the thing we're going to do from this. From this report, we will draft this player in the first and second round, respectively, of the draft. Think about what we will be doing from this and what you want someone to know. So let's think about, Blake, if you were to read someone's executive summary, does that pretty much tell you everything in their report? This is the crazy thing about an executive summary. An executive summary. If you were to read, who is this for and why is it being done? The key findings in the report, and what are we going to do? If you read this kind of paragraph right here, is that going to tell you everything you need to know in the report? Like everything of major importance. I hear drilling outside. This right here would be every single thing it's going to be all the super important stuff. So the report is the everything. So it's going to be the high points, exactly. So it's not meant to be like an opening, like, hi, in this report, I'll be doing blank, blank, blank. No. The executive summary is going to be, what is the report for? What were the key findings in the report? And now what are we going to do? So the reason executive summaries exist is so that someone who's not kind of reading a big report can be like, oh yeah, okay, so we're going to, okay, cool. Okay, we're going to do that. Okay, got it. So an executive summary is a summary of the whole report. It's like a cliff notes. Does that make sense? Like if you read the cliff notes, you can basically understand everything in the book. You're not going to get all the details. That's what the book is for. But the cliff notes is like the high points, the major important stuff. So what's the major important things we need? Well, why was this report done? Who is it for? What company are we? What are we doing? I would have 2 strong sentences for the top one. I'm saying strong, not like, this report is for this. We are this. Make sure to have big, strong sentences for why is it done? Who is this for? Right there with point 1. The next thing, the key findings, I like to do 3. Like I like to pad my thing a little bit to make sure we have a little extra. 2 strong sentences for number 1. Like have strong sentences like, we are a such and such company and we are analyzing this right here. The goal of this analytics, blah, 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 is to blah, 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 blah. I don't want to say too much lest people copy it. I'd have 3 for this right here. And then the action item, I'd probably have 2. So altogether, you're probably looking at about 7 sentences. Does that make sense? 2 up there, 3 right here, 2 right here. And the last part, be very specific. So the way you get the points is with part 1, you say exactly who you are and exactly what your goals are. Part 2, you need to quote some numbers. You need to say what matters. Our big key findings are this right here because this. So be very specific on what the key findings are and quote numbers. I would suggest 3 sentences right here. And thank you, Blake, right there, putting everything I say in the chat exactly. And then for the third part right there, I would do 2. Hey, Shay, good to see you here. And for the third part right here, I'd do 2 strong sentences saying like, we will be doing like, be very specific. This is what we're going to do, but connect it to part 2. Notice how I said we're looking at players to draft and we found we're not doing drafting players. But if we were looking at drafting players, that'd be mentioned here, then these are the analytics based around what we're going to like how we're going to draft. And last but not least, then we're going to draft certain players. Let me see what my Pearson's saying. I heard 3 clicks. My Pearson says, okay. Time I try, it gives. Let me see. Let me send them the error code. There's the error code. There we go. All right. There's the error code for my Pearson. Oh, we're trying to get it to work. We'll hopefully get to work. So what else do we have to do now, Blake? What else? We have one paragraph with about 7 sentences. Make sure they're strong sentences. What else do we have to supply for this? What else do we have to supply? We're going to get my Pearson synced up. What else do we have to supply? The one other thing we have to supply is what? Well, you don't worry about supplying the full report. Does it say supply the full report? You just need to supply the executive summary and the what? So you'll just supply the executive summary and the what else. So this is basically a writing assignment. What else will you supply also? The executive summary and what else? No visualization. Good answers, Blake. No visualizations. You'll supply the executive summary and the what else. So take a look at the top of the assignment right there. The executive summary and what else. So you want your 7 sentences probably about for the executive summary. And then you also supply the what else. Also supply the future research. The future research. So that's what you'll be supplying. Great job, Lachey, right there. So you'll be supplying the future research. Like in this assignment, the research has been completed. You are to write the executive summary and the future research sections of this report. So you don't need to supply the other portions. You're just supplying the executive summary and future research. So don't worry about giving the middle portion. You give executive summary, you give future research. That's what we're grading right there. The assignment, along with the visualizations, are meant with your preparation, for the final project right here. Just help to prepare you for the final project. So with this, so what are you wondering? What is future research? Future research is kind of the where do we go from here? So if we were to look at, drafting players in baseball, we might say future research can be done on new analytics such as WAR, which is a statistic in baseball. That was not analyzed within this report, but WAR has been a very hot topic in recent years, and we could maybe use that as a metric to bring in new players. Future research are ideas that go beyond our current report. Does that make sense? The idea of future research is going to be things like collecting new variables, new things to analyze, new data sets, a new way of looking at stuff. It's not from the report. So you don't want to, in your future research, just rehash ideas. It's like a what's next? Where do we go from here? Like, what are new ideas that we didn't consider? Does that make sense, Blake and Lachey? So future research is like new ideas. What could we possibly do that we didn't consider? And I don't want to talk too much on the data. So we've got right here on the Stat 1 page, the data in your assignment. Great job, Lachey. And so here's the data only assignment. There it is. There's the body. There's the whole. There we go. You can use this. You're supplying these 2 portions right here: executive summary and future research. So you can use this outline if you want right here. Copy it in. Make sure you give your executive summary. Good to see you, Justin, and future research. And then where is it? That's the instruction file again. And here we go at the body of the report. So this is the written report for you. This is the written report. So take a look right here about the company. I don't want to say too much, but we got stuff on the company. Then you've got some findings. So what are you trying to do right here? You will need to go through and see what the company did. So what should you first start out by doing? Exactly, Blake, exactly. So is this seeming a little less scary now, I hope? What should you probably do right now? Like if you're starting to read it, start by reading the assignment. Start by read this through. Much easier now, exactly. So you need to be like, okay, who is this company? What are they doing? That's part 1 of the executive summary. Part 2 was, what are the key findings? So I don't want to say too much because I don't want people saying exactly what I said. Exactly. So the first thing you'd want to do is read up probably on who's the company and what are they doing, because that's part 1 of the executive summary. This won't be an executive summary right here. That's like an intro paragraph to a report, which is not an executive summary. So you're going to go and start reading about who is the company and what are they doing. That's probably going to be a lot up here, and just talk about, the goals of the company and what they're trying to do. Part 2 is to take the key findings. Looks to me like you've got some findings right here. Looks to me like you've got some findings right here. looks to me like you've got some findings in here and in here. So summarizing the key findings. But when you summarize key findings, you need to do what? And we're talking about part 2 right now. When you summarize key findings, you need to give what? Like, what is the best way, Brian says, when you're summarizing key findings, by going through and looking through the report and finding the key findings, you should also give what? More findings. Got more findings than my piercing glitch. Oh, yeah. Let's see what they're saying. Sure. How can I send? All right, here. Upload or drag your files here. Okay. Let me upload or drag the files. And they're like, can you send a picture of it? Okay, I'm taking a screenshot. Broken my Pearson. Why my Pearson? There we go. I just dragged it. Wait. It literally says drag. Upload. Okay, there we go. Did that send? Okay. Oh my gosh. There we go. Evan, you missed something on Monday. All right, let's see if they said that send. We're trying to get my Pearson working in the background at the same time too. Rashni, good to see you. So the third and final thing to do is to give the action item. We're trying to get my Pearson working in the background at the same time. So the third thing to do is to give the action item. And the action item is like, what are we going to do from this? So the third thing to do is the what are we going to do from this? So what should you do when you give the what are we going to do from this? You should be very what? When we give the what are we going to do from this, you should be very, very what? So when we give the what are we going to do from this report, you should be very, very, very specific. Great job right there. But like very specific. You should be like, we are going to take this action. Also, connect it to your results. Make sure when you give those numeric backings, you then connect your idea. So your idea from number 3, part 3 right here, is going to be connected to part 2, key findings. So action item, what data-driven can be made right now, again, on the analysis. So this needs to be right here, a data-driven decision from the analysis. Be specific. Be like, okay, so we're going to do this because the data says this. That's why we do analytics, to make data-driven decisions. Data analytics is expensive, ROI, all that good stuff right there. So future research, I guess is the last part to just reiterate again. When it comes to future research, what's the best way to describe when you're writing your future research, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like a brainstorming session. Now, you don't want to go off the rails. This is Knoxville Best Health. You probably don't want to say, we're going to be a bakery. I mean, it's cool, but it's probably not the future research we're looking for. So connect your new ideas in the executive summary, the action items, not new ideas. I was thinking of future research. When you're doing the action items will be connected to your key findings. Does that make sense, Lachey, right there? So the action items are like what are we going to do? Like the company needs to take this action. And then the key findings are did we find of importance? Make sure to give numeric backing and connect when you do your what are we going to do? That's going to be the action item. So the last thing to do is a paragraph on future research. And we kind of show how what you're going to turn in looks like. This one I'll click on. This is what it looks like when you turn it in right here. This is all you're turning in. You're turning in an executive summary and future research. So that's what you're turning in. Now, the future research is more what? I said what storming. Does anyone remember, like, future research is new ideas. It's just kind of a what storming session, if you know that terminology. So future research is more like what? It's just brainstorming. It's like, well, we could do this. It's like, but you want to think outside of what was done. Like new variables, new ideas, things we haven't thought of. So it's more just being kind of creative. And like I said, but don't be like, oh, Knoxville Best Health is going to become a bakery. Someone's going to put that now. We probably won't give you points if you say we should become a bakery. But that'd be something outside the report because the report doesn't consider that. So, think of things that we could look at, we could analyze, we could collect data on. So there's infinite ways to go. This is where, and so huge warning. I wish I had do I have a sound effect for that? Where's my sound effects? Look at a random sound effect. Well, that's the point sound effect. I need like a really like I try to see. I have these labeled so poorly on my sound effects panel that I can barely tell what is what. So there we go. Oh, perfect noise. There you go. Warning. Woo, woo, woo. We have that. It's right here. And that's a nice one. There we go. That sounds like the police. Woo, woo. So when you're writing this is one of the ones where people get in trouble. Because if you're writing the future research and it's all your own ideas, what do you think should happen? If you're writing the future research and you're just brainstorming ideas, what do you think should theoretically happen when you write your future research and you're just like, we didn't consider this, but we could also look at this. And a new variable to collect on could be this. So what do you think happens? I'm trying to say as little as possible because I don't want to have any false positives. What do you think happens when you are the one coming up with all the new ideas, especially for future research? That's where we're like, that's kind of weird. If you're the one, no. Well, remember, I'm just trying to, plagiarism. We don't want this. And so if you're coming up with all the new ideas, especially for future research, it's really bad when someone else's future research is like 70, 50% like yours, like where they have full sentences that are identical. It's like, that shouldn't happen. If you are coming up with new ideas, we shouldn't see full sentences. So please watch out. This is probably one of the biggest assignments where there is plagiarism. Probably might even try to mention this in class today, because people just send each other their work and they're like, hey, look at this. And someone starts copying it thinking, this is a just written report where you're taking a full report over here and you're going to tell us who the company is and what they're doing. So it's just looking here at the start. So a lot of people are going to have similarities there. So it's not going to be exactly the same, but we'll see some similarities. It's going to be more similar. Then you're going to summarize key findings. Key findings are going to have a lot of similarities probably because they're the key findings in the report. Then the action items. Now the action items are where it gets a little unique because you're coming up with your ideas here again. So action items, we don't usually see a lot of action item overlap. And then last but not least, the future research is where it really gets. If you start overlapping on future research with someone, please don't do that. Please don't overlap on anything. If you want someone to help you, ask them how to do it, which we're doing right here. What other questions are there? I don't want to I'm trying to stave off any sort of plagiarism by mentioning as little as possible and not actually doing the report, so to say. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience this caused. Rest assured the team will be on this immediately. Yay! Thank you. Oh, Blake, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I feel like there was some anxiety to start with this. Like, how do we do this? What other questions do people have on the Data Analytics 7? I think it should only take about 30-ish minutes. A bigger portion of this is going to be reading the report. So I think it should only take around 30, 45 minutes. I've had one person already turned it in. I give them 100. I was like, good job. I read over their stuff. So I don't think it should take super duper long. So there, please keep track of your email for an update on this. Okay. So my Pearson, I almost think, I don't know if it's a Canvas issue or my Pearson issue or what, but I should have took a picture of that. So my Pearson has been officially 100% updated and their team is on it. Their team is on it. Rip, my AirPods died. No, go plug them in. Go plug them in. Well, I think that was really good on Data Analytics number 7. What other questions do people have? What other questions? So my Pearson's on it. My Pearson's on the case. Brian should turn on captions. I thought YouTube had live captioning. Does YouTube not have live captioning? Can you click close caption and it'll do it live? Is there live captioning? I thought, no? Is it a setting I have to do? Okay, it says unavailable. Let me look. I'm gonna go look in the studio real quick to see if maybe I haven't. Thought for some stuff they do live closed captioning. It's like a service they just don't want to do. Are they mad because sometimes Google Voice, like when it tracks things, I can actually put on a live caption if I have a way of doing it. I'm afraid of what it could display then. Crank the volume. I've seen, I swear on some of them it does it. Let me go look. I'm in the settings for a video right now. Doing a lot of management today. A lot of figuring out stuff. Customization, live chat, live replies, slow mode, live commentary. Oh, interesting. Live commentary mode limits participants to the people you approve for your channel. Whoa. That's interesting. That's a new thing. There's a live commentary approved users. Is that like my mods? But I mean, I have to like make all the mods then. Redirect, trailer, slow mode, I know all that. Analytics, monetization, no. Copyright, no. Waiting for checks. Settings. I don't think. So there's now a new thing. That's interesting. Brian, when is the drop for the... Yes, so we did it, and they're reaching out. I don't know if they've reached out yet. Let me... Well, I can't show the list, but what I did is I took all the emails, then I assigned random numbers, and then I sorted the random numbers. So we need hoodie. Maybe I should do like... I wonder if I could give out points for the top point getters. So... Oi. I feel like I understand. Hoodie, Roshni wants the hoodie too. So, am I lip reading that you gave it away? Well, I sent the list. I sent the list over. I sent the list and I didn't look at it after I sorted it because I didn't want to know. But it's in Adam's hands. It's in Adam's hands to give them away. I think they have like 20. And the amount of people in it were like 600. This... Mm-hmm. My other skills are not up to par. Evan, you're killing me, man. So, they should contact like 20. Does Evan play golf? Well, there's no way I'm... well, no, right. I wish I could go look. Can I go look? To contact. Where is it? I called it like... Students. It's already been sent off. Okay. Pulling up the list. It's already been sent off. 20. I'm not even joking. I'm pretty sure I see someone's name in this. I see an email. I'm not even joking. I don't want to. Well, we'll see what happens. I sent the thing to contact. So tell me if you get contacted or good to see your Angel. Sorted the list, put random numbers, sorted the list. The list turned out the way the list turned out. I guess it's 100%. We'll see. So I'll ask Adam if he's contacted students. So watch your emails. Watch your emails. Watch your emails. So we had like 20 of them. And there's a total of scrolling. Total of 602. Because the last row is the first starter. It should be like 20. My AirPods are back until 13%. Who will the email? It'll probably be from Adam. Gosh, I can't think of Adam's last name. Adam Breimer. Probably Adam Breimer. So I sent it to him on the weekend, I think. Adam Breimer. So if you get an email from like TEE, Adam Breimer, Jason Greenway, You can't do that. You can't email me. You can't email him and tell you to give you one. Please don't do that. I'm thinking about the Vine that goes Adam, which thing? Time for bribery. Time for bribery. Ay, ay, ay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. What else should we do? So I wonder if the sync is working now. Can we do the chapter? Yeah, what do you want to do on chapter 13 quiz? That's a tough one. So chapter 13 quiz, let's get it booted up right here. And we'll hope my Pearson is like, check your emails. I'm like, yeah, I've been checking my emails. I do. Bop, bop, bop. I have no idea what's going on with my Pearson. They're like, enable the auto sync or do this. And I'm like, I'm doing everything. Everything's broken. So it's just the grade transfer. Everything exists. We have the grades. I could take them over and write them to the grade book, but it just takes more time. So that's the only issue is like if I have to transfer grades, I'd have to do it all manually. Bring back Vine. Vine's old school right there. That portion of adults. Yeah. Portion of adults. And this is the homework or the quiz? Chapter 13 quiz, right? Chapter 13 quiz. They call it 13 and 14. We're only doing half of each chapter. And so that's why it's basically one chapter. It's over... Okay. So there's chapter 13, sampling distributions. Let's do it. Stat Tool 1, chapter 13 quiz. And this is the proportion of adult women. Let's go check it out. So in this chapter, you need to know the notation. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to open up a new worksheet right here and write the notation. Here's what you need to know. This is the number one thing.
Notation, brother.
This is where it started. This is where Leo made his fame. It reads the following. What is that notation right there? What is mu? What is mu? What is mu? So what is mu? That is the true what? We oftentimes see things like normally distributed with mean. Mu is what? It's the mean. It's the true mean. Great job. Let's share it there. We haven't thrown enough points. Let's throw some 5,000 points in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone right here, for practicing and working along on this stressful trying to get my Pearson working day. Blake is the new Leo right there with some notation, brother.
Notation, brother.
And so we have mean of p hat. So this stands for the mean of the sampling distribution of the sample proportion. Does that make sense? The mean of the sampling distribution of the sample proportion. This is the standard deviation for the sampling distribution of the sample proportion. Because if you were to go out and I were to tell you, think about this question, you ready? 50% of people at UT were born in Tennessee. Is that a categorical or quantitative question? So put C or Q in the chat. 50% of people at UT were born in Tennessee. Is that categorical or quantitative? Be careful. The question, it's categorical, great. Because were you born in Tennessee is categorical. Like someone's either born in Tennessee or not born in Tennessee. Now, if you were to go out and talk to, let's say, 80 students, what percent would you expect to be born in Tennessee? If you were to go out and talk to 80 students, what percent would you expect to be born in Tennessee? Now, I'm not asking how many, what percent. So I told you 50% of people at UT are born in Tennessee. So what would you expect to see if you went and talked to 80 students? Don't even worry about the 80 students. If you talk to 80 students, what percent of students would you expect to see born in Tennessee in your sample? So if I tell you 50% of students are born, well, so wait, so 50% is what the truth is. 50% of UT students were born in Tennessee. If you talk to 80 students, what would you expect to see? What percent would you expect to see if 50% is the truth? P means the true proportion. So P means it is true that 50% of UT students were born in Tennessee. So if you talk to students, what would you expect to see in your sample? What would you say? Well, so wait, but think about this though. It is true that 50% of students are born in Tennessee at UT, we'll say. So if you talk to students, what would you expect to see in your sample? What percent of your sample would you expect to be born in Tennessee? Because it's true that 50%, so what's the most likely thing to see? In your sample, the most likely amount to see would be what? Because if 50% are born in Tennessee and you go talk to people, what percent would you guess if you had to guess an exact percent? Well, right there, this is where I want to have the light bulb moments right here. If you had to guess an exact percentage, because if 50% are born in Tennessee and you go talk to students, you'd probably expect to see close to what? But you'd probably expect, let me ask it this way, you ready? If you have a big bag of M&Ms and 40% of the M&Ms are blue in that bag, and I pour M&Ms into your hand, so you're taking a sample, does that make sense? So I've got this humongous bag of M&Ms right here. It's got hundreds of thousands of M&Ms in it. And then you put out your hands and I pour you a big thing of M&Ms. You get like 80 M&Ms in your hands. You're just like, whoa. And 20% of these M&Ms are blue. So 20% of the M&Ms in the bag are in this huge bag are blue. What percent of your sample would you expect to be blue? That's a freaky hand right there. What percent of your sample would you expect to be blue? If it's true that the proportion of blue is 20%, you'd probably expect around 20% in your hand. Does that make sense to be blue? So if 20% are blue in that huge bag, and I give you a sample, you'd probably expect around 20% blue. So think of the same thing right here. It applies. If 50% of UT was born in Tennessee, what would you expect to see if you go talk to students? You'd probably expect to see around 50%, and that's what this is. The answer to what we would expect in a sample is the truth. So the formula also reads mu p hat equals p, which reads, I would expect to see in a sample the truth. Like that's the most likely thing to see. If 50% of students no, I don't look, I don't see it. I don't see it. Evan said it first. You said it first, Evan. So I'd expect to see in my sample the truth. Because if 50% of students are born in Tennessee and I go take a sample, I'd expect to see around 50%. But we won't always see 50%. Like we won't see 50% on the dot each time. There'll be variation. And how could we measure the variation? How could we measure the variation in this? Like what is a way to measure the variation in what we could see in a sample? Because we won't see 50%, 50%, 50%, 50%. Like if we took a sample of students, we could use a standard deviation to talk about the variation right here, because the mean is what we expect, and then the standard deviation is going to tell us the variation around the mean. So this is what we calculate right here, and the standard deviation is P times Q over N square root. We got a quote for that too. P times Q over N square root. Hence why I say chapter 5 is super important. So what notation are you wondering about on the screen? I said we talked to 80 students. Q is the complement of P, which we just talked about in the last chapter. So let's look at our question right here. Bowser's no match. Oh, man. King Bowser. That's Andrew. Man. Okay. What proportion of this sample of 340 would you expect to be women? Okay. So the proportion of adult women in the United States is let's not even use the word approximately, is 51%. If you take a sample of women, then what percent would you expect to be women? Or you take a sample, what would you expect to be women? So 51% of the US is women. You take a sample, what would you expect? What percent would you expect? Well, that's the amount. So that's the amount, not the proportion, though. So the proportion will be a decimal. And right there, Lachey, you got it. So this is the same sort of concept. If 51% of people are women, well, then in a sample, I'd guess I'd probably see about 51. And so that would be the amount, though. So you could find the amount. That's how many we'd probably see amount-wise, but we'll do it as proportions, which will be a percent. Then it says, what is the standard deviation? So what is the formula? Does anyone remember off the top of their head for 1,000 points? That's the wrong one. I'm going to find it over here in MuBot. What is the formula? I can't search them. What is the formula for it? Does anyone remember it? What is the formula? Remember that for today. P times Q over N square root. P times Q over N. I love it because of the dancing right there. P times Q over N square root. So what's P? So you ready? We need to first find P, which is the true proportion. Great job, Roshni, right there. What is P? What is P? I need to throw some big points. What is P in this? What is P? I'm gonna so few points today. What is P? Well, P is the mean of the distribution. That is correct. So P is the true proportion, which mu P hat is equal to P, and P is 0.51. So what is Q? So P is 0.51, and then what is Q? So if P is 0.51, Q, great job, Angel, exactly. It's 0.49. They're just complements of each other. And then we do what? We divide this by the sample size that we're taking. So we divide by 340, and then we have to square root it. P times Q over N, and then square root the whole thing. It's not square root of N. It's P times Q over N square root. Just so you can see it visually right here, it's P times Q over N, and it's the whole thing square root. Watch out. Sometimes you get a formula sheet for this too. So look at the formula sheet with P times Q over N square root. P times Q over N square root. And that's why don't memorize it, but it helps. And so that's the sampling distribution right there. And there we go. 3 decimals. There we go. How many women on average would you expect to find in a sample of that size? Also, and it says round to the nearest number as needed. Just round. So if we take a sample size of 340 and we expect 51%, so 173. There we go. How is this looking a little, this formula is like these formulas are the full chapter right here. This question right here has the basics of everything we're doing today. This question, like we'll talk about conditions for it. Condition 1, randomly sample. Condition 2, oh my gosh, my brain's breaking. Less than 10%. And condition 3, we want at least 10 successes, at least 10 failures, success failure condition. That deserves a hoodie. An automatic character recognition device reads about blank percent. Oh man, I haven't even done this one. Let's do it. Wow, found it right away. Here we go. So let's see. Oof, tricky stuff. An automatic. Great work there, Evan. Let's knock this question out. Let's do it. Okay, we are here at the 5703 mark. Stat 201. Chapter 13 quiz. Okay, so I want to point this out again. An automatic, because there's going to be some keys to getting the first thing we do right and then the second thing we do. Need more practice? Let's do it. So an automatic character reading device successfully reads about 85% of handwritten credit card applications. To estimate what might happen when this device reads a stack of applications, the company did a simulation using a size of 20, 50, 75, 100. For each sample size, they simulated 1,000 samples with a success rate of this. This is the truth. That is the true success rate. So that's like assuming it will work that amount of time. They're saying that is the truth. And constructed the histograms of the 1,000 sample proportions. The histograms, sample statistics, and theoretical values are shown in the company's tables. Complete parts A and B. Okay. So what do you notice about the observed means? All of the observed means are what? the formula to find the observed means would be as follows. Yours is different. We'll do the next one next. So it's mu, and this is equal to p. What do you notice about all the observed means? They're all basically what? What do you notice about them? They're basically the same, because the theoretical truth is that we should see this, which is p. The truth is p. And so mu p hat, which these are mu p hats. Mathematically, mu p hat should be equal to p, so all those are very similar. Now, the standard deviations over here are p times q over n square root. And this is there's the observed standard deviation, there's the theoretical. So basically, like, theoretically speaking, I should have put that over there on the side. This is what we actually see. So this would be the standard deviation of p hat, and that is supposed to equal to the theoretical value of p times q over n square root. Now, what do you notice here about this? What do you notice about as the sample size gets larger, because I think that's where this question is going to go, what happens to the standard deviation? And look where this is at. As the sample size gets larger, the standard deviation gets water. Man, they really made it go different. Why is that last one? Oh, just because weirdness happens. It gets smaller. And so I don't love their My Pearson question where they do this, where they break what should happen. The last one on 100 didn't follow simulation. They should have simulated the results more, but it should theoretically get smaller and should follow the theoretical answers. Are they going to say, like, they're going to be like, it deviates because of this? Let's find out. Okay, I think I know why. I think I have an idea. If they talk about there being errors, okay. There's a bit of an issue here, and I think it deals with one of the conditions as I think through why their things doesn't look perfect. Looking at the histograms, so let's look at the histograms. Here we go. Notice something. Notice where it starts to look normal. Do you see down around here, we start to see more of a normal shape, and especially at sample size 100, we see a normal shape. They might be going for the normal shape at 100. You remember how I said there's 3 conditions? Condition 1, we randomly select. Condition 2, we take less than 10% of the population. In condition 3, we have at least 10 successes, at least 10 failures. Well, if you were to take a sample size of 25 and you said we have an 85% success rate, we'd expect 21.25 successes. Sample size of 25 with a 15% failure rate, you wouldn't have at least 10 failures. So this is how to check the success failure condition to say, do we have at least 10 successes, at least 10 failures? With a sample size of 100 and an 85% success rate, how many successes should we have? With a sample size of 100 and an 85% success rate, how many successes should we have? 85. And how many failures should we have? You're correct, Evan, right there. Great job. We'd have how many failures now? We'll do the other question here too. 15 failures. So do we have at least 10 successes, at least 10 failures? Do we have at least 10 successes, at least 10 failures? Yes, we do. And we could check it right here on the other one by doing 75 times 0.85. That's at least 10 successes. 75 times 0.15, at least 10 failures. So 75 might be the right answer. We'll see what they say about this. Let's see how they're talking about it. It passes for 75 and it fails for 50 because half of 15 is 7.5. So let's see what they say. Looking at the histogram, what is the smallest sample size you'd be comfortable using the normal model as an approximation? And they are talking about the success failure condition. There we go. So I would say 75. It might be 100. I'm going to be a little bit mad because this is very shady right here. If you look at the histograms, it's not 20. I'll tell you that much. Little iffy on that one. What does the success failure size condition say about the sample size? So NP is the mathematics to do it. What does the sample size say about what sample size should be used? The values of NP both are at least 10. So this is where it's met. This is very unclear. The values of NP and NQ are both at least 10, so the success failure condition is met. I'm really not liking this question. The values of NP is at least 10. No, well, there you go. So this question right here is very contingent on what you previously answered. If you answer 50, then it's going to be that NQ is not met. If you answer 100, everything's met. If you answer 75, everything's met. So with this question right here, it's a very good in-depth thinking question, but the way they're talking through it is not what is NQ? So what is the value of P for this data right here? This is why this is such a great question, but the way they're wording it, I don't love. So what is the value of P? P is what? So what is the value of P? Like, just look right there. What is the value of P? It's 0.85, right? So what is the value of Q? Q is the complement of P. So what would Q be? And great job on practicing. What is Q going to be? 0.15, exactly. So they add up to 100. They're complements. So if sample size is 50, so if N is equal to 50, what is NQ? If N is equal to 50, what is NQ? Q is the complement of P. It's the failure rate. So if there's 85% successes, there's 15% failures. Like, this is like pass-fail. So if 85% pass, 15% fail, they're complements of each other. Does that make sense, Evan? Really good questions right there. So it's the, failure rate. Yeah. It's like either happens or does not happen. So they're complements to say, like, either you get this or you don't get this. So they're complements. What would NQ be if we use 50? Which, if they're going for that, then NQ is going to fail. So what would NQ be? What would NQ be with 50? If it's 50, NQ would be what? So you just take right here, you write NQ, and that's going to be 50 times 0.15. And that equals to what? Oh, that's NP. That's NP, which passes. NP does pass. So NP, there's at least 10. And what do you notice about NP plus NQ? This is a good thing to notice. What do you notice about NP plus NQ? You don't have to know this, but you'd be like, if you look, you're like, oh, wait, 42.5, 77.5. NP plus NQ is not equal to 1. P plus Q is equal to 1. NP plus NQ is equal to what? Very close right there. And these are the deeper understandings to like check your work. NP plus NQ is equal to what? So look at 42.5 and 7.5. That is equal to what? The sample size. Because it's like, this is the amount of the sample we'd expect to be successes. This is the amount we expect to be failures. So 42.5 plus 7.5, 50, which is the sample size we use. Does that make sense? So it's the amount of successes we expect out of the sample, and it's the amount of failures we expect out of the sample. And if you add it up, you get the total sample size. P plus Q is equal to 1 because they're complements. So this is the deeper understanding, the things I go for to like, what are these things? And what does N mean? So this is lowercase n, and that is sample size, the amount we're sampling out of the population. So this is lowercase n, which is sample size. Capital N is population size, which we rarely use. Capital N can also be used for normally distributed with a mean and standard deviation. These two are different though. Like that one is not that one where we say capital N for population size. It's just that statisticians overlapped in how they used it. I'm going to cheat. Watch this. 70. Oh, really? And they're both, what? Oh, I should have just, why did I doubt myself? Never doubt yourself. We said 75, and then we said they're both met. So, yes, and then you wanted least, so we did it. Wait, nope. So they're both met. Yep. There we go. No, should never doubt it. It's been such a crazy, I was like, I'm doubting myself. We need to send that announcement to the class. Blake, there's another one. Was it Blake or Evan said? What does the other one say? Oh, there's the automatic character reader right here. Let's do it. Let's send out the announcement to the class. Tell them it's coming up right here. With my Pearson crashing, I was like, I don't want to get a question wrong. Oh, that's the old class right there, I think. No, is that the... Where's my thing? We'll do this other one right here. We'll end off with this last one. Watch class live. Class coming up right here. Class in 12 minutes. soon. Okay. Except for what Blake said, that's all part of one question. What is the shape, center, spread of the sampling distribution of sample size 20? Ah. So we're going to actually be able to view the histograms right here. So if the sample size is very small, this is very similar to the other question. It actually looks what? It's going to look right skew. Or left skew. Dun, dun, dun. I was thinking 15% failure rate. So it's going to be left skew. Do you see right here the sample size 20, the left skew, Evan? So basically, little monster man right there, a little smiley on the monster man right there. So it becomes normal when you meet at least 10 successes, at least 10 failures. So once again, we've got the same sort of data that we just used. So at 75, it's normal. At 50, it still has a little bit of left skew, but at 20, it has more left skew. So it's not going to be normal. The sampling distribution is skewed to the left, and the sampling distribution is centered around. So where is it centered? Well, this right here is the truth. And so it'll be centered around the truth because what do you expect the sampling distribution to be at? If 0.85 is the truth, then you'd expect the center of this to be around where? For all of these, sample size doesn't matter when solving this because mu p hat is equal to what? Because it says 0.85, so it literally tells you right here 0.85 is the truth. And so that's what we expect. Does that make sense there, Evan? So 0.85 is the truth. So Q is this. Sample size only comes into play when we're talking about the what. Great job to share it there. Sample size only comes into play when we're talking about the standard deviation. So the center for all of these, really, whoa. Oh my, you gotta be kidding. What is it doing? Is it want that one? This is not nice. Oof. I'm going to be really mad. What are they doing? Oh my. Okay. I showed Terry this question. Terry! The sampling distribution has... okay, so now they want you to figure out the spread of it. So to do this, we have to do P times Q over N. Is it 20? Square root. There we go. But that's not going to be... How far does it spread out? You can divide that by 6. Keep that there. 0.0833. Oh, is it talking about the simulation has a... Oh, it's saying the range. It's saying the range. Okay, this is fine. The range of the data, you can just view the range of the number line. The range of the number line, 0.5 to 1.0. We can just view the range right there. It's very wide. They want you to see that. They want you to see it's going to get tighter as it sample size increases. So this one is going to be approximately normal, and this is still going to have a little bit of skew to the left. Oof, I really don't like how they're... See, that's right there. All of these... Is it because of the left skew they're saying this? Well, they better not say that that's left skew. 0.65 to 1.0 for the next one. So 0.65 to 1.0 is a inside of here. And then the next one is... It's a little smaller. Let me double check. So that's 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95. Okay. So that is 70 through 95.25. It literally puts it on the ends of the... What is happening? So I really don't like this question. I really don't like the way they're wording this. Because I just found the range of this. So they're asking about the range of this distribution right here. Does that make sense, Evan? Sorry, we've got like 7 minutes left, and so I'm kind of... It's a good idea. It's a good idea in theory, but the way they're asking this is because that's on 0.7 right there, and that's on 0.95, And so it's probably less than because the bins extend through. So it's probably this. And then the last one, well, this goes, that's at least 20. So it's not super narrow. If they're going range less than that, they can't because it's not. So this question. How do you know it's 0.7? Which one 0.7? 0.7 for which thing right there? Oh, no, you're talking about the graphic right here. The reason I know this is 0.7 right there is because that's 0.65, and then the little mark right there, 0.7, 0.75, 0.8, 0.85, 0.9, 0.95 right there. Yeah. And so skewed left, approximately normal due to the success failure, approximately normal. And due to the left skew right here, I think they're saying it's going to pull it down a little bit. What in the world was the one tiny one? No way are they saying this is narrow. That's what I thought. They didn't say that. So that's got to be right. Is it? I just clicked a random thing. Ooh, it is this one. So are they seriously saying it's this? Oh, so the one they're saying it's between that and that. Meanwhile, the tiny little interval, this one is way too specific because in all instances, well, at this point, due to the success failure condition, we would expect it. So I got this one wrong because of, oh my gosh, got it wrong because of that. Are they saying this one? No way. So that one is the lower bound. Who wrote this question? Are they saying that's left skew? Good. I was like, no way are they saying that's left skew. I calculated this one. Let me see. Wide. Is this not exactly what I put in? Oh, now it's going to change it. Blake, what did I have different than this? Yeah, ban this question writer. I had wide for this. I had this right here, these ranges. Then I had 0.8. There's that. And then and then they're doing the lower bound for this one? Oh, because this is 0.84. Okay, that has 0.84. So 0.84 should be in the range. Was mine 0.84? Because now this makes perfect sense. All of these make sense down here with 0.84 in the range, but they were also including it on the end of some spectrums. So everything here makes sense. This is good because this passes the success failure condition at 10 right here. That's really what they're trying to get at, is they're trying to let you see that this is when it becomes approximately normal, and they're trying to show you that the mean at all points is the mean, but they're trying to show you those formulas right there, and they're trying to show you that the range decreases of the data. It was a decent idea, whoever wrote this question, but they're just trying to show you that the standard deviation decreases and the mean stays the same, and that the distribution becomes normal. It was the very last. Was it 0.84 for mine? And I read it 0.85. Oh, because maybe this one has a different success rate. So no, it's 0.85 sometimes. So it's 0.85 sometimes. They should really have 0.85 in the range of all these. So really the answer here is 0.85, 0.85, 0.85, 0.85 because of the formula. Mu p hat equals p. So at all points, we would expect the mean to be around 0.85. They should just have you do a numeric input of this and do 0.85, 0.85, 0.85, 0.85. And that's the better way to understand it. Does that make sense there, Blake? We got to head off here. Let me get the timer going. They should just have you enter in 0.85, 0.85, 0.85, 0.85, because then the mean stays the same. And that's the thing to know for this. It was a decent idea. It's got some decent concepts, but overall, the question just fell short. Until then, bye for now, everyone. Bye.